Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. Hope everyone had a wonderful holidays. Guys, how were yours?
Can't complain. It was busy. We host Christmas, so it's always it's always a busy time.
Yeah, it was. I have my kids on Christmas Eve, so Christmas Eve was great. Christmas was a little somber, but watched a couple games, just relaxed and watched the rain fall. Oddly enough.
Yeah. Not your traditional snowy white Christmas here in central New York, but
That is very true.
Hey, on the plus side, at least at my house, it stayed white all day. It may have been raining, but it stayed white on my lawn.
Yeah, it's now just a complete white sheet of ice outside up here.
Doesn't matter. It was still white. There was no green. Get off my back.
That was green here.
You could say get off my lawn, but we just slip and slide around out there right now.
Yeah, you'd kind of just slide across it on your belly like a seal. It'd be pretty great.
Ooh,
At least that's what I would do.
It kind of reminds me, I'm going to go back a few years to the days of Syracuse, and they held an exhibition game, and I forget who was against, and the field was so slippery, they ended it after the first quarter because no one was it was like they possessed the ball, slide, fall. Same thing, repeat. It was the same thing over and over and over again. It was quite amusing.
This went off track really quickly.
Yeah, well,
I don't even think
refraining
we did
from bringing up
I think you just went right into.
I'm just refraining from bringing up that in the box soundbite. We don't need to go down that road.
Which one? Which soundbite?
The one that involves something slippery.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone wants that joke, they can watch an In the Box episode.
That's right. In the box, Thursday nights, 8:30 Eastern.
Also, because I'm so good at this, I forgot to introduce who we are.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm like. You just went straight for it.
Yeah, I came out on the attack, something that Utica needs to do this week, and we'll get more into that after we introduce.
Oh, boy.
It's not even like we took a week off for Christmas.
And cue the Benny Hill field.
So your host this week are myself, Matt. Brandon is here. Michelle has the night off. And we are joined by the FC Fanatic, Matt Huber, who co-hosts the Facebook show In the Box.
Which lately I have been taking a back seat on by my kids.
Well, when they have such great comedic timing.
Yes, and if you've missed that, it is on YouTube, In the Box, Thursday nights, 8:30 Eastern. Watch the last week's show. About the 20-minute, 30-second mark.
This man getting 2 plugs. We
haven't
even gotten started yet.
Pluggables. So when I get to pluggables, I'll be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm good. I already got mine in.
Yeah. After a week off, Utica does see itself returning to action. This time they will be traveling south to Lakeland, Florida, to take on the Tropics, who we last saw in the season opener. Let's call it a flop fest for the Tropics, and the sloppiest play I've ever seen for Utica, which resulted in a 7-1 loss for Utica, in which they still somehow outshot Florida 35-32.
We're not going to talk about that game.
Good, because I want to talk about this one coming up.
I'm good with that.
First thing we need to note, the keeper from the first game, Hugo Silva, who killed us with a 952 save percentage, I believe is unavailable for this game due to a retroactive red card awarded by the disciplinary review committee.
If that's the case, that is a huge loss. I know they just signed a player, Christopher Frederick, maybe, question mark?
Yeah, some Instagram guy for 5 years.
Yeah, but he is no Hugo Silva. So if that is the case, that is a huge loss for Florida. Definitely puts Utica as the favorites to win that game. In front of Florida's 60 plus fans, they'll probably have at the game.
Well, I mean, according to the last 2 games, they had 0 fans, so
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
yeah. So guys, what does Utica have to do if they want to win this game?
Just real quick, I did, before we move on with that, I
Yeah.
did confirm, it does say on MASL's website that the 1-game suspension will be served on January 2nd, 2022.
Perfect.
So, yes, he will be out for that game, according to their website. Anyway,
And,
sorry.
I kind of saw, even without the suspension, I imagined this was going to be 2 keepers. So we'll get to see both keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's as long as Utica brings their finishing shoes and actually makes sure that they are taking shots against the not first string goalie.
Right.
Yeah, and because it's it's another backup, just like we saw in Harrisburg this past weekend. My key to winning this game is going to be score first. So far this season, in 4 games played, Utica has been the secondary goal scorer in every game.
Mm-hmm.
And that just puts pressure on you that you don't need. Get that first one out of the way.
Now, granted, that didn't matter for the last 2, but
right.
I don't know. I'm after thinking back to some of the other games that we've watched them play. I always feel like Utica, at least in the past, has really brought the fight to other teams at home. We may see them struggle maybe the first couple of times that they may play them in Utica, but once they go to their turf, it seems like a totally different ball game. Case in point, this past weekend, you look at the first Harrisburg game at home, and we really struggled. And then they brought it together in the second half. You look at the second game, and I mean, there was still some struggles, but ultimately Utica kind of dominated them on their home turf. So I'm curious to see if that comes into play at all this weekend. I mean, again, being in a completely different setting, being away, I could see it. Utica really trying to bring it. And as long as I mean, hopefully they keep up that energy from last weekend. That's really the key thing. They need to just keep the pedal to the metal for this game and really just establish themselves in the division.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my key would be to stay composed. I think we saw the last time against Florida. We kind of went off the rails quite a bit. Few penalties. Definitely a lot of sloppy play. But stay focused, stay composed. And I think you'll see a more solid showing from Utica. Especially if they continue that momentum from the Harrisburg game. The key to winning that game at home against Harrisburg was power plays. scored 3 power play, three power play goals, and
which is surprising for Utica.
Very surprising. And I think if you give Utica that opportunity again, I think if Utica has about 2 or 3 power plays this game, I think that might be the difference. So, yeah, stay composed.
Yeah, composure is a big thing, especially if you do fall behind, even if you get that first goal and then fall behind like 3-1 or something. Just you can't have that thought in your head of, oh, here we go again. This just happened. You know you're a team that can compete with these guys. You should be able to compete with anyone in the league. You got to keep that confidence and show it on the turf.
Absolutely.
So along with keeping your composure, I mean, if we start to see kind of a theme from the last game, which was why there were certain chants going on in the Adirondack Bank Center. If you start to see that theme again, that's not, don't get frustrated by it. Just, try and, I don't know. They need to stay calm if that kind of thing starts happening again, and potentially have to build a strategy around it.
Yeah, I don't think the fans are going to make much of a difference there in Lakeland. So
I'm not talking about I didn't necessarily mean that. But the actions that caused the fans to chant the things they did in the Florida game.
Right.
I'm being vague on purpose.
I'll just come out and say it. The officiating being suspect is what you're referring to, and if anything's going to be called a foul, take advantage of it when you're on offense. And
the levels of embellishment that were seen. I'm curious to see, either is it dialed back or do they start getting called on it? They start getting embellishment calls against them. I don't know. I'd be curious simply because they are going to have a backup keeper versus their normal one. If that trend continues, only because of that fact. I'm very curious to see that.
Yeah,
it's still a valid strategy.
If they're going to play that game again and try to turn everything into a foul, make them earn that foul. Just out physical them.
Yeah, you saw that with Ontario.
Yeah.
Out physical them.
Definitely.
And the advantage that Utica has over Ontario is it's not back to back.
Right.
Utica has a week to recover and to do it again next Sunday.
Yes, and we should have Obasi back this week, which certainly helps the back line.
Will we have him back this week?
I believe Coach said he should be back.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Obasi's in for both games, I mean, that's huge.
As long as no one else gets injured.
Right.
Yeah, we need whatever we can get on defense right now. Let's be frank. I'm gonna be.
Look, I would love everyone to be Frank Tayu, but we don't have that luxury.
I'll be mad. I don't want to be Frank.
No, but it should be a hard fought game either way. 3:00 down at what is it? RP Funding Center.
Yes.
Don't get confused by the turf if you haven't watched a game there before.
Free parking, free ticket with parking.
Or free parking if you have season tickets.
Yes.
And then the turf is set up for arena football right after that.
Yay.
Anything else you guys want to say about the game?
I mean, if Utica plays the way it does, 7-5 win, and then we'll be in. Oh no, we won't be in first place. We'll still be. Oh no, we'll be tied. We'll be tied for first. That'll be nice. After the start,
Yeah,
that we had, like 3 solid wins. Definitely a good turnaround.
I'd take an overtime win. Like, if as long as you come away with points on the road, that's a good thing.
Yep.
But the more points, the better.
I'd take an overtime loss at this point. At least that means that means that they put some serious effort into it, and that's what I want to see out of them is like heavy effort on this game. Like, I want to see them play their hearts out, like what we've been seeing for these past at least the second half of we'll say the past six quarters. We've seen high amounts of effort from those guys for the past, like I said, like 6 quarters. I want to see that in this game against, and we'll say in a top tier team right now, because that's what Florida is historically known. They're a good team. Not discrediting Harrisburg, but just look at the league right now.
Yeah.
So I just want to see a high level of effort. I really want to, like I said, even an overtime loss, I would be super happy to come away from that with something like that. Just give me that.
Okay, let me then piggyback off of that and ask you guys a question. So I know we're only talking about this particular game, but I want to talk about the 2 games in general. How many points would make you happy over the next 2 weekends?
Enough to win.
4.
So 4? Okay.
4. Because at 4 points, it still gives you the possibility of, at 4 points, you either took 4-2 on the road over those 2 games, or you took 4-2 either way. And that gives you the hope of at home splitting it 3-3, but at least gives you a 2-point wiggle room if you have to win in overtime at home the next time Florida comes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would be happy with 4 out of 6 points.
Yes.
Over the 2. Okay. What about you,
Ben?
Yeah,
I'd have to second that. I mean, there's no no reason not to be happy with that.
Okay. Well, now this is going to sound completely weird coming from the guy that was ready to just go off the rails at 0-2. I'm going to say if we at least get an overtime win or 2 overtime losses, I'd be happy with 2 points. You're playing a top tier team, and there's still plenty of season left. So to go from 7-1 to a couple of overtime losses, that's definitely a confidence booster for the guys. And I think that will definitely help going forward. Would I be happy with 4 points? Absolutely. Would I be happy with 6? I suppose so. But I think 2 points keeps us ahead of Baltimore. And I think that would put us at 8 points. And I think that's pretty good.
See, I mean, I'd be happy with 3, but that's more of a content because then I know, well, we can split at home and split on the road. But the reason I say 4 is because I'm looking at it from if we're going to win the division kind of, you only get 4 cracks at these guys. And if you can split it 7-5, that's the best case. I mean, best case scenario would be 9-3, but I don't think that's realistic.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so.
That's kind of where I'm at with Baltimore too. Like if you can, we got that 6 times, so 18 points up in play. Well, 15 left, but if you can take 10 or 11 points there, that's how you're going to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
Just making the playoffs, yeah. If you split or come close, you're going to make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. At this point, I mean, do we want to shoot for the stars? Sure. But being realistic is a bit more, realistic at this point with how things have been. And, we're hopeful, but, we're just keeping things, I don't even know where I'm going with that. keeping things in perspective. That's what I was trying to say. It's the wording I was trying to get out, and my brain just wouldn't work. It just shut off mid-sentence.
Well, Matt, you kind of slipped your prediction in already at a 7-5 win. Brandon, do you have yours?
Oh, I'm actually going to go with what I just said I would be happy with. And for the first time this season, I'm actually giving it to Florida over Utica this weekend. I think we're going to come out and put a good fight in. But my not my expectation, but my feeling is that we may lose, but it will be in overtime. I'm going to say 6-5, but it's going to be Florida. It pains me to say that, but that's my thought.
Okay.
But it's going to be a good game.
6-5 Utica. I think the backup keeper makes the difference.
Yep.
We saw that with Harrisburg. I don't think it's going to be that much of a drop off. But especially because we don't know who they're putting in. I know they have, I think, 3 keepers on roster besides Silva now. Yeah, they have a lot. I think they have Brett Petracek, that guy they just signed from Germany for the next 5 years. And then someone else who I can't remember the last name, but I am looking.
It's probably, I don't know if Jorge Navarrete is.
Yeah, it's Jorge Navarrete.
Yeah, he might be in the game. I don't know. It's to be determined at this point.
Yeah, but they have options.
As do we.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, if we want to win, we definitely want to see Wilkin perform again. That was watching him was great. I mean, he had some amazing saves, some back-to-back saves, within seconds. Oh, it was a joy to watch him perform. I still want to see Andrew back, but
yeah, if he's back and healthy and fully recovered,
but in the meantime, Wilkin is a welcome keeper.
All right, so we'll take a pause here, and then we will be back with our New Year's resolutions for the team. Here's a quick ad. And we are back. With the new year coming up this weekend, just before Utica's game on Sunday, we thought we'd put together some resolutions for the team. What they need to do going into this bulk of the schedule, since there's still 20 games to play, 20 games to play before the playoffs. Guys, my resolution for the team is defend home turf. Utica, mostly because of just one, I think, familiarity with the arena, and because I'd like to say that our fans in the stands play a bit of a role and can help raise them when needed or buoy them when they're ahead. They were 7-2 a couple of years ago before the season was cut short. And this year they started 1-2. I don't think they need to, I don't expect them to end up 10-2 at home after this because of all the talent we see coming in, but 8-4 really needs to be the target, I think, especially with 12 road games and a lot of them in hostile environments.
Well, that and, the hope is that once things kind of get settled, I mean, at least that's my hope is that once things get settled where, there's not, I don't want to say turnover, but essentially when we're not getting a new person every week, it seems like, first we had Slav, then we had Alan Card Jr. And, it just seemed like there was a lot of changes in the initial part of the season. So hopefully, with some stability, and people getting off injury and stuff like that, we can have, again, said stability that will allow us to, be better on our home turf or just in general. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that, what we've seen from them at home, 2 out of the 3 games have really hurt. And even the third one hurt to an extent.
Yeah, and I just pulled up the first season there, 18-19. They went 9-3 at home during the regular season. So,
yeah, they looked great that season. That was a good time.
It's a good introduction to the team.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking. It was like, oh yeah, it was basically our first season. So it was good saying, a good hello Utica season.
But if you take care of business at home, you stand a chance, not just at the division, but at good seeding for the playoffs. And you really want one of those top 4 seeds so that you can reward your fans with home games when they matter.
And we will give it back to you in kind
yes.
by yelling and screaming our heads off for you as we tend to do.
All right, whichever one of you would like to go next.
I was going to say, Hubert, would you like me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you figured out what you want?
Oh, I know what I'm going to say, but go ahead.
Okay, fine. So I have decided. I thought you made that face at me.
No. No, sorry, guys. We all are also kind of paying attention to the Milwaukee-Kansas City game right now.
Yes, we are. So, Matt, you may know this little jingle, but please go to the ball. Please go to the ball. Oh, for the love of God, please go to the ball. That's what I want. That's what their New Year's resolution needs to be, is go to the ball. Go to the ball. If you see the ball and it's rolling in front of you, step in the way. Please. Please don't stop or step back from it or assume that your teammate is going to do it when 2 of you are going to the ball. Go to the ball. Play the ball. Please. Please, I'm begging you, play the ball. That's what one of their resolutions needs to be. It needs to happen. Please.
Just be aggressive and yeah, I agree. We've seen that a lot. Don't let the play come to you. Make the play happen.
Yes. We've seen that they are capable of doing it. We know they can do it. I want to see more of it. Begging you. Oh, mine was short and sweet. That's all I got.
No,
That's all I. That's that would have been all I wanted for Christmas, but you didn't ask about Christmas, so you asked about New Year's. That needs to be the resolution.
Well, there you go.
Play the ball.
Yeah.
All right. Well, mine is a little more. I don't know. I don't know if it's short and sweet, but finish strong. I think 2 years ago, and I know we said this 2 years ago, we all know what happened. Utica was flying high. Then they had that game in Sonora where they got blown out. And then we all know what happened. Utica versus Kansas City. And then the final game of the season against Harrisburg.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we ended that year on a 3-game losing streak. And I think that it might have been, I don't know if we would have seen that in the playoffs. So fast forward to the next year, rewind to last year. So we saw the San Diego Sockers finish the season first in the MASL. I'm not going to say they won the cup. Not going to say that. But they had a 6-7 record last season.
Mm-hmm.
They finished strong. And that's how they won. So finish the season on a positive note. I know the last 2 games are at home, which is great. But we need momentum going into the playoffs this season. So that's mine. Just finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not concerned about playoff seeding. I would be more concerned with how they ended the year.
That's fair.
I would rather see a Utica team playing great and a 5 seed rather than Utica having maybe a 2 or 3 game losing streak and being the 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean that's across all sports. Is when it comes to playoffs, it's whoever gets hot at the right time.
Yep, and that's what we need.
Yeah, and that was a big. I think I'd be willing to bet if we went back. That was something that I know that was on my mind. Just how the end of our season went that year, where it was just we're riding high, we're doing really well, and then I don't know. It was just kind of like the energy was sapped out of all of them, and it just started going down, and it just continued to go down, and it just felt like they had nothing left in the tank, and it again disheartening. It's really really hard to see that happen when you're just so excited for this team, so just looking forward to every single game, every single time you get to watch them play, and then to all of a sudden just again the energy's just sapped out of them. You got nothing. It seems like there's nothing left in the tank, and there's no will to fight anymore, and that hurts. So yes, I absolutely I would love to see them, regardless of how the games go, as long as they are trying their best, putting forth as much effort as they can. That's all I ask. I just want to see effort.
Yeah. Like as bad as it was, that taste left in the mouth after losing in the playoffs at home to Baltimore 2 years ago. I mean, there was fight in that team and almost on the field to end it. And almost from the stands as well. But
let's be fair. Things always get heated whenever
Utica and Baltimore play. Yeah.
Utica and Baltimore play, or apparently this year when Utica and Florida play at home. because I know that there was a lot of taunting and stuff like that going on. But I mean, it's like I always say. I've said this. Well, I've said it a few times, but maybe not always. Is yeah, okay, it's good on the field, but once they're off the field, they're just human beings. Like, don't like not that anybody did, but if they came into like 72 afterwards, it's like, hey, good game, like you got to be cordial with them regardless. I don't know if everyone would do that, but
I'm not gonna buy you a beer,
but you guys played a hell of a game, and that's not going to change for me.
No, I agree. We'll see. So let's see. Be more aggressive, finish strong, defend home turf. If you do that, you stand a good chance of bringing home the Round Newman Cup.
Oh, and score more goals.
Score more goals. Always score more goals.
I mean, those first three sound like a pretty good winning combination. Let's be honest here. That sounds pretty good to me.
I mean, if you do those three, maybe it's because you're scoring more goals, or they're leading.
It causes you to score more goals.
Yeah. It could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those are my favorite kind.
Yes. Mine as well.
All right. You guys got anything else you'd like to add this week?
Oh, I've already plugged my pluggables, so
twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
Let's see. Twice. Oh yeah. No, I mean I think these two games this week are definitely. I'm going to probably say this every week, but I think each game going forward is going to be huge for Utica.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the schedule is brutal. And,
yeah.
And we've mentioned it. I mean, Florida, Baltimore, Ontario are the next 4 games. I mean, crazy. So I think the key will be getting at least a few points out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts on Sunday.
So I will say this, and I'm gonna say this now, so that in the future, if it comes to fruition, that I could say I told you so, or I can be called out and be completely wrong. Part of the reason why I say that we're going to lose this weekend is kind of what I've seen Utica do in the past, which is lose the first game or get really close in the case of Harrisburg. And the next thing you know, they seem to have learned more from playing the team and ultimately end up turning it around. I mean, granted, this would be the second game against Florida this weekend, but you see where I'm going.
They're a month apart.
Time. Yeah, that and again, they need the extra time because it's a higher tier team. So that's kind of where I'm going with part of the justification with why I believe we may lose this weekend. But the next time the next week when we play Florida again, I'm gonna, depending on how this one goes, if it's close, then I'm gonna definitely put one in the W column for Utica next week potentially. As a more likely scenario.
No, we don't want you to come on board next weekend. You're on board either this weekend or you're not on board for both weekends.
Oof.
Okay, I don't know.
Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Matt, how'd you forget a game in there in your next 4?
Wait, did I?
You covered the next 3 and the 5th one. It goes Florida, Baltimore, at Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, bleh, I forgot about that.
And then Ontario, San Diego, Ontario, Baltimore.
Oh yeah, Milwaukee's in there. Yeah.
He's just upset because he's still upset from when we didn't get the Lager Derby. So he just didn't want to think about us playing Milwaukee.
Well, great. Now he can wear that on that Sunday. Or Friday. Sorry, Friday night in Milwaukee.
If I go.
I mean, you could just wear it at home. I wasn't saying you had to wear it there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll probably be wearing mine at home.
It'll be yet to be determined at this point. Might make it out there.
I mean, you're already locked in for the West Coast trip.
I am. I've been, so it's weird. I've been talking about going to Milwaukee, and then so that weekend is the coaches convention in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's culminating. It's going to be at the T-Mobile Arena or wherever the Bucks play, I guess. It's Tacoma versus Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess pluggable. Oh, great goal. Pluggable in the box Thursday nights at 8:30 has been invited to be on Podcast Row. And so I think I'm only doing the Milwaukee thing, but it'd be nice if I could go to Kansas City that weekend as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Okay, that was all.
All right. What's going to do it for us this week? We're a little bit shorter than usual. There are no surprise special guests that we're going to pull the rug out on and confuse even Mr. Huber here with.
Hey, I was perfectly fine. That was a great interview you guys did with the coach. So yeah, no hard feelings.
We wanted to give you a reason to listen.
Yeah, and I did, and I did.
Well, it worked because that is now our most listened to episode ever.
Well,
it was a fun time.
Yeah,
it sounded like it. Yeah, you guys asked the pertinent questions I wanted answers to that I got. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping the league will still publish their protocols if they get updated here after these outbreaks, but unfortunately, from where we sit, it's much ado about nothing.
Yes.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Yes, thank you as always.
As mentioned many times, you can find him at the FC Fanatic handle, or you can find him in the box in the Facebook group on the Facebook group on Facebook. Redundancy is redundant. Watch the shows on YouTube. They're great fun. Let's see, you guys had the Doctor and Eric on this past week.
Yep.
Joey Zanaboni the week before.
Yeah. This week we're kind of, we might have a special guest. I'm not really certain. It's probably going to be a game time decision. I'm going to try and get Willie B from the Harrisburg Heat on the show. So.
Well, that should be a good one.
Yeah, but it'll be him doing like picking games with us because he doesn't have any games this week. So we'll probably talk to him about the season and get his picks. And then Adam and I are just going to talk about what happened in tonight's game, which by the time you're listening to this will be last night's game. And then
are you going to talk about tomorrow night's game while it's going on?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably not. One of these days, we're going to do a watch party, and we'll all watch a game together, which I think will kind of be fun.
See,
So
that
be
would
on
be
the
a lot of
lookout
fun.
for that.
Mhm.
And that'll be on the In the Box Facebook group.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. As always, I'm Matt.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm here for the beer.
Well, bad news. There's no beer, so I guess that means we got to end this.
All right, that's it. I'm out.
Okay. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a happy New Year.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.